downtown. Here comes LBJ! Look out!
So here are the top 25 NBA players of the 2019-2020 season based on Pi. So you're probably wondering, what is Pi?
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Pi is the player impact estimate, and it is a more comprehensive measurement of the player's impact on the court. So we all know that stats don't show the whole picture of how the player impacts others on the court and how good they are, right? So if we were to take a look at the best statistical players, say maybe someone like Wilt Chamberlain or Hakeem Olajuwon or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, we would consider them the GOATs. Or if we take a look at rings, then Bill Russell would be the GOAT. But when we talk about the GOAT conversation, we generally look at LeBron or Jordan. And they both had amazing stats their whole career, and they both won rings, but it was their impact that truly made a difference. And that's the beautiful thing about basketball. We can objectively see who the better players are on any level, but once you get to the elite of the elite, it's kind of hard to decipher who is the best player in the league. So that's why we have statistical measurements. If we take a look at the advanced stats on NBA, so if you take a look on the left, as you scroll down here, there's tons of stats that the NBA measures and keeps track of, other than just the traditional, so the rebounds, points, assists, etc. So if you take a look here, you can find various things, and that's where I stumbled across the PIE, the player impact estimate. So I'm going to go ahead and type it in here. So if we look at Pi here, and this is the definition on NBA.com, the Pi measures the player's overall statistical contribution against the total stats in the games they play. So it includes additional things, more than just points, rebounds, assists. It also includes your personal fouls and your turnovers. And there's a more comprehensive formula on the website, so I'll include the link in the description below if you want to take a look at that. But it takes all of these different factors and it divides it by the total amount that was in the game, right? So it gives you a percentage based on the player's impact. So on NBA.com, they said that they've introduced the stat because they feel that it incorporates a bit more defense into the equation. So not only that, when a team misses a shot, all 5 players on the other team's Pi rating goes up, right? So this is more of a comprehensive look of that player's impact on a team. So I thought it was pretty cool, and it is objective. I did a video earlier talking about the top 10 point guards in the league, and it was so subjective. So it was players that I liked. I didn't include players that should be on there that I didn't really like as a fan, and I also included some younger point guards who have a lot of potential. So that top 10 video is super subjective, kind of just to stir the pot up, but I wanted to do a video like this that is not based on opinion. So it's just all stats, and thankfully this Pi does a really good job at measuring who the best players are. Okay, so I included 2 prerequisites in order to weed out some of the players that had super high Pis but weren't some of the best players in the league. So for example, the best Pi in the league is Marquise Bolden with 30.8, but he's only played 1 game. So we did some prerequisites, like Taco Fall is 3 and number 8 is Shamori Pons, but they didn't play much. So we took the minimum games played had to be 44, which is 60% of the games, and the minimum minutes average per game had to be 29, which is also 60%. So that's how we included those prerequisites to actually get the best players in the league, and it turned out pretty well. So by adding those 2 prereqs in there, it was fairly accurate with the players I came up with the top 25 in the league. So 9 of the top 10 definitely deserve to be there. There's an outlier, of course, and 20 of the 25 were in the All-Star game this year. So people that are injured, like Kevin Durant or Steph Curry, Kyrie Irving, these guys would all have high Pis and would be on this list, which would eliminate those guys on the fringe that are included. So because of injuries, some of these players weren't all-stars, and they could have been all-stars. There's definitely one on there that should have been an all-star. But it gives us an objective look at who the best players are. Honorable mentions, those that played the season but didn't meet the prereqs that I filtered with, are Cat, Karl Anthony Towns with 16.8 but only played 35 games. PG 14.4 but only played 42 games. D Rose has a 14 pi, but he only plays around 26 minutes a game, so I don't know what the hell's going on there in Detroit. Kyrie has a pi of 16.4, but he only played 20 games. So those guys are the honorable mentions, didn't meet the prerequisites, but have high pi. So like I said, the best players in the league always end up having a high player impact estimate. So it's a good measurement, definitely. Okay, so let's get started. Here are the top 25 players in the NBA based on pi. Number 25 with a pi of 13.9%, DeMar DeRozan. He's having a great season on the Spurs, and yes, when you join the Spurs, your numbers will tend to drop, but his stats are still up there, and he does make a good impact on the game, more than people think this year, and more than I thought personally. So number 24 is Kevin Love. So Kevin Love is just an overall sound player. Yes, he's on a bad team, but the pi takes into account the overall stats of the game. So yes, the team is not doing well, but Kevin Love, as you can see from his stats, he just makes an overall impact. So at 14% of the pie, Kevin Love at 24. 23, no surprise here, Jason Tatum, 14.3. Jason Tatum is coming up real fast. He's an all-star, and he's playing unreal. So we'll see what happens in the playoffs. Amazing stats, high pi. 23, Jason Tatum. 22, Bradley Beal. This is the guy that should have been an all-star, averaging 30 points a game, just like Kevin Love on a bad team, not in the playoffs, but he makes a huge impact on the game as a whole. 14.3, Bradley Beal. 21, 14.5, Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons makes a huge impact on the game. He's an amazing player, and it's going to be like, look at those stats. Right, so he's almost averaging a triple-double, and stats aren't everything, but he does make an impact. He is solid at D, and they can do some damage this year in the playoffs for sure. 20, Russell Westbrook, 14.8, amazing stats, huge impact on the game. I didn't include him in my top point guards in the league because I was being subjective, but this is an objective look at his impact on the game. And Bleacher Report had him at 22, and that was a funny tweet that he included in his response. He's probably he's around this, this 15, well, I guess 12 to 25 range of best player in the league, if you are to kind of look at it based on your opinion, but based on the pie, he's 20. 19, 14.9, first-time All-Star, Bam Adebayo. He is playing unreal this year. Miami's going to be super dangerous in the playoffs. It's a lot of fun to watch, and he does make a huge impact. So that's high there. Nikola Vucevic, if you've ever seen this guy play, he's unreal. You can tell he's just a baller, straight-up baller. He averages a double-double. Also not on a good team, but his impact is huge. So he gets buckets, and he does all the little things really well. So Vucevic, no surprise there. 17, Rudy Gobert. So a trend here is with the pie, because it includes rebounds and field goal attempts, field goal makes, so a lot of big guys will have high pies. And also like blocks and stuff like that, right? So big guys tend to get more stats. So at 15.1, you got Rudy Gobert. But he is an all-star, and he does make a huge difference, especially on defense on that court. So it makes sense. High pie. 16, Chris Paul. Unreal year this year at 15.1% impact on the game. the way that he's mentoring SGA and just the way that he's playing, it'll be fun to see them in the playoffs. So it's no surprise here, Chris Paul has always been one of the best players in the league, and he continues to make an impact. 15, here's a little surprise, Andre Drummond at 15.3% impact. Like I said, big guys get a lot of stats, so this makes sense. And it's weird that the Cavs are so the team makes a difference on the pie ratings, and it's weird that the Cavs are on here, crappy teams, but I guess it just favors the stats of a big guy. So Andre Drummond, he does make a huge impact on a game though. So having him, imagine him playing with like LeBron or someone. So yeah, Andre Drummond. 14, no surprise here, Chris Middleton, 15.5 pie, averaging 20 points, just playing alongside Giannis. That team is amazing, but Chris Middleton is one of the best players in the league. So based on opinion, some people may not include him in the top 25, but this is based on the hard stats, objective look. He makes a big impact. At 14, Chris Middleton. 13, Domantas Sabonis. So Sabonis is playing unreal this year. The Pacers are a solid team, and this guy's just overall a solid player. So this makes sense at 15.6. A lot of people may not know who he is, but he was an all-star this year, and he is playing unreal. No surprise, Sabonis. 12, Jimmy Butler, one of the best players in the league, probably he is one of the top 25 based on my opinion, but based on the pie, he is. So at number 12, 15.7% impact, Jimmy Butler. Even with those injured guys like KD and Kyrie and Kat, he would still be on this list. So Jimmy gets buckets, and he is a solid player. Just overall, they're going to do some damage. Like I said, Bam and the squad can shoot. So a high pie. 11, Trae Young. He is the next Steph Curry. 16.0, almost 30 points, almost 10 assists. This guy is playing unreal. They have a bad team, Atlanta, but Trae Young is a superstar in the making, for sure. 10, so cracking into the top 10, Hassan Whiteside on a bad team. But as I reiterated, big guys get stats. So a 16.0 Hassan Whiteside here. So this thing isn't foolproof, but I feel like if some of those injured players are there, they'd have higher pies, and these guys would kind of be weeded out. But this is the impact that people have on a game, so more than just our subjective opinion. All right, number 9, my favorite player in the league, Damian Lillard, 16.5. So back-to-back Blazers. He makes a huge impact, of course. His stats speak for themselves. Damian Lillard, one of the best players in the league. Personally, I think he is top 10. The PIE says he's top 10. He might have been kicked out based on some of the better players like Curry and Durant. But Damian Lillard, just with the eye test, you know he makes a huge impact on the game and on his team, which is probably part of the reason why Whiteside's on there as well. Nikola Jokic, so he is one of the best players in the league, top 10. Denver's going to be scary in the playoffs for sure, and he lost a lot of weight, so we'll see what happens. But at 18.2%, a little bit lower on the stat side, but the pie kind of evens that out based on his impact, so it's really interesting. 7, Anthony Davis. I think he's probably between that 1 to 6 range. 7, I guess you can get away with. Best players in the league, and his pie speaks for himself. 18.3. He gets stats. He makes a huge impact. He plays alongside LeBron. That's why his pie is high as well. And the team is just generally good, and they are definitely going to win a championship this year. Number 6, James Harden, 18.3 as well. His stats are insane, and although his defense may not be the best, he still makes a huge impact on the game, and that's without question. And he's been in the running for MVP in the last few years. Right, so Harden. Number 5, Doncic, 19.3. Just with the eye test, you know this guy is making a huge impact. He has emerged as, I think, the third contender, or third for MVP voting, or MVP ladder. Doncic is unreal. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. You know this guy makes an impact, and I hope they play the Clippers first round. That would be a fun thing to watch. Doncic. Number 4, Kawhi Leonard. No surprise there, 19.3. Kawhi is one of the top 5 best players in the league, subjectively, and any NBA fan would probably agree, but the pie speaks for itself. So this top 10 is fairly accurate. Here's a big one. Joel Embiid. Obviously, he makes a huge impact on the game when he is healthy at 19.7. If he is healthy in the playoffs, they're going to do some real damage. And he has yet to reach his potential. So Joel Embiid at 3rd is very interesting. He could questionably be in the top 10 just overall player if you're being based on your opinion. But with this, he makes a huge impact. And there's no question there. So top 2 coming up, no surprise at all. LeBron James at 20 for pi, leading the league in assists. That's insane. At 36, 37, LeBron is just killing it. And personally, I think he's the best player in the league because I'm a huge Laker fan and I love LeBron. But the pie says he's number 2, and obviously we know who number 1 is above everyone else. Giannis Antetokounmpo, 23.9. He will win the MVP again this year, and he just makes such a huge impact on his team that there's no surprise that the pie is high. And we'll see what happens this year in the playoffs. They might not even make it past the second round. We will see. The East is a lot better this year, and it's going to be interesting unless he can really shoot like they're saying he can, and he makes some threes in the playoffs, this guy is going to be almost impossible to stop. So no surprise, number 1 pie is Antetokounmpo. So I hope you enjoyed that top 25 NBA players based on a more comprehensive, objective statistic, the player impact estimate. Like I said, 20 of the 25 are all-stars. 9 of the top 10 probably deserve to be there, and if players were healthy, like Durant, Kyrie, Curry, Klay Thompson, Paul George, these guys would all be on this list and kind of weed some of those last people like Kevin Love and DeRozan. But the PIE, if you didn't know what it is, it's interesting to see this statistic, and I think I'm going to do a lot more videos where it's objectively based, not subjective, right? Not opinion. We can all see who the best players are, but it's interesting to see the small nuances and the impact these players make. And at the end of the day, we'll see who wins the championship. But this was a fun video to make, and up next, maybe I'll take a look at plus minus. I want to do a video of comparing the top 25 salaries, but I'm going to do a bunch of videos like this. So I hope you enjoyed. Please like, please subscribe. Ruka Go Media, we do a lot of different things, not just basketball, but we have a podcast that has to do with being mixed. I do a little cooking show, so please click the notifications, share with everyone, and I hope you enjoyed this video.